Hello everyone, welcome back to the Williams Road to Glory, and today we are here for some more action as we arrive at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. As you can see in the background, we have the weather forecast on screen, which promises to be dry. We then move into the performance chart for the R&D, and we are currently the third best team, bringing some big upgrades this weekend, but Red Bull pretty much matching us. We do have an ultimate engine power upgrade on the way very soon, and that's going to help us out massively going into the final races of the season. But we jump into practice, and Monza, a track where I've been pretty decent at, I'm pretty confident with, and I generally enjoy. So I am looking forward to the weekend. Historically, I've had good pace around here. We scored well over 1,000 R&D points in practice, and so far things look pretty positive. Having said that, we move into qualifying, and you can hear the fans in the background, of course, the birds, as always. Shout out, hashtag best fans. As we jump into qualifying, of course, Ferrari's home race, they're going to be hoping to want to perform, to a pretty high level this weekend as we kick things off in Q1 now. The first lap here, just making sure we set a safe, banker that's fast enough to get us through without having to go out again. Running up to the line, we're going to set a 1:15.9 and go P5, which is more than enough to get the job done in Q1, and just ahead of our teammate George Russell. Eventually, by the end of the session, we finished in 7th place ahead of George, who finished in P10. Albon set the pace with a 1:15.4. In Q2, I tried my luck in the mediums, and to be fair, we were up on Stroll, but then I cut the corner heading into Ascari, so unfortunately this lap is going to be put in the bin, which is a bit of a shame, but nonetheless, we're going to try our luck on the soft tyres. And the first lap was not going super insane. It was only a 10th up compared to our medium tyre run. But I ran a bit wide out of Lesmo 2 and got a warning. So at the end of that lap, luckily I had just about enough fuel to go for an extra lap. And the only downside is, of course, if we qualify into Q3, these tyres are going to be pretty worn out, which is a real shame. So yeah, here we go then, about to set the lap. DRS wide open. We're going to try and deliver here. Less than a minute to go. We're currently P15 at last. Down towards turn 1, 100 meter board, 3rd gear, really aggressive on that inside curb, and then avoid the second one completely. Short shifting out of turn 2 to get nice smooth traction as we go through turn 3, of course, absolutely flat out, and keeping the car nice and tight to the right hand side. Turns 4 and 5, little left right chicane, aggressive over both curbs as we take it in 4th and then shifting to 5th midway through the chicane. Important here to get good traction as we head down towards Lesmo 1. I take it in 6th gear, seems to work quite well. Usually I take 5th. Second Lesmo, 5th gear this time, nice and aggressive on that inside curve. You can definitely take way more than you'd expect. DRS open for the second time, and this time this lap is about 2/10 up compared to the previous one, so this is looking a lot better. Down towards the Ascari chicane, 6th gear, this time not cutting the first inside left, and getting a nice exit as well as we're north of 4/10, nearly half a second up, so looking pretty decent. Into Ascari, Parabolica, 50 meter board, 5th gear corner, just kind of feather the throttle and keep a little bit of throttle on to keep some momentum heading through the corner, and then bring the car to the right hand side for the shortest run to the line, and it's going to be a lap that's pretty much more than good enough to get into Q3 as we set a 1:15.8, so only just under a 10th quicker than our Q1 time, but that was enough to get the job done. And Russell unfortunately was the victim of me improving as he got eliminated in P11, so big shame for George, and he's out in Q2. In Q3 though, we're going to go on a fresh set of soft tyres, and I messed up Parabolica there a little bit. I just broke a bit too early, took a bit too much inside curb, and usually want to avoid the inside curb at the final corner, but we do set a 15.6, which is a really strong lap as our banker in Q3. And unfortunately it would end up being our best lap, which is a real shame because this lap right here would have been the lap of the weekend, but I invalidated. Anyway, I'll let you guys enjoy it because it was a great lap. And as you can see right there, we just run a fraction wide. It's a real shame because it was a 1:15.3, and I think it would have been an absolute stonker, and it would have got us easily P3. So real shame. In the end, we finished in 6th place, so we didn't get punished as badly as I thought, for invalidating the lap time. But having said that, it's the worst case scenario. Mercedes won 2, Hamilton P1, Bottas P2, and as you guys know, Bottas is equal on points with us in the championship. So not terrible. Bottas could have got pole, but in general, it's not ideal. Russell P11, we are P6, and Mercedes have a front row lockout. So yeah, we're over 70 points behind the constructors, so we need to fight back here. So we need a big performance in the race. So let's jump into it and let's see what happens here on Sunday at the Italian Grand Prix.
Welcome back to one of only 2 countries that has held a race every year since the very first Formula One World Championship in 1950. It is, of course, Italy, one of the great racing nations, and it's time to get underway for the Italian Grand Prix. We're 12 miles northeast of Milan for today's Grand Prix at a Monza circuit where we can expect top speeds of around 215 miles per hour. 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with 7 of those coming in the form of chicanes, and with a good slipstream and DRS open, there should be plenty of opportunity for some passing here today. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and Valtteri Bottas will line up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Albon, Gasly, Daniel Kvyat, Martinez, Ocon, Leclerc, Norris, and George Russell, Ricciardo, De Vries, Sergio Perez, and Stroll, Verstappen, Giovinazzi, Carlos Sainz. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. And Roman Grosjean, Magnussen, and Nobuharu Matsushita. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track and get this Grand Prix underway.
Okay, here we are then for the race at Monza. We start from P6, and I feel like we didn't get a chance to really show our true pace in qualifying. So I'm looking forward to showing what we really have up our sleeve in the race. Historically, this has been a good track for me as well, so I'm looking forward to that. The one downside, though, is that in Spain right now, it's friggin' hot. It's so warm. Today, summer has officially hit, and I'm already sweating, and I've not even done a single lap yet, so I'm not looking forward to this race in the slightest. But anything for the content, we have to push on, so we're going to jump into things here. P6, we're going to start in the mediums, then go on to the... So we're going to start on the softs, then go on to the mediums. My bad. No rain expected. Fuel-wise, we're going to start with 0.8 on the fuel, so a little bit in the reserve just in case. And yeah, we're going to see if we can try and turn this around. So let's jump into it, and let's jump into, I believe, 27 laps of Monza. Okay, let's see if we can get a good start. Lights are on. 5 lights are out, and away we go. Oh, it's not a good start. We're going to have to defend the inside straight away here. But this is not looking good. Oh, Ocon gets by, so does Norris. It's going to be a bit of a squeeze. We're going to stay ahead of Ricciardo. And we got a virtual safety car. Not sure why. I think someone may have had an incident behind, but a brief virtual safety car here. So we'll stay on board for a second to see how the AI respond. But we're down to P8, so not a good start by any means, but I kind of expected it. My starts generally have been poor since I switched pedals about 2 months ago now. But anyway, VSC ending. Timing on this is going to be key. Let's see if we can use it to spring a surprise maybe. Or not quite. I thought about it there, but the Delta was coming down quite aggressively. Whoa. Back end all over the place. Ricciardo looking for the move here. We should have enough straight line speed to counteract the Alpine, and I think we do. Just got to make sure we get the car into the Ascari chicane without getting a cut there. I had to completely correct the steering. Here comes Ricciardo though. Again, he's got the momentum. My chair is also moving, which is not going to help matters. That's towards Parabolica though. End of lap 1 as my foot nearly slips off the brake. I'm having all kinds of issues here in this opening lap. But I think we're going to hold on for now. Ricciardo will keep the pressure on. I'm going to drain my battery, and so I've got a bit left in the reserve. And I think we can chill now. So let's see if we can start to go forwards, because it's been a pretty poor first lap. Quite a few cars in the pit lane actually. 2 or 3 cars in there, which is interesting. As we go through turn 1, I'm going to try and get the cutback on Lando Norris here. In the slipstream, can we maybe go for a cheeky little re-overtake? Engine temps look good. Trying, but that McLaren's pretty good in the straight. We're going to go up the inside on the brakes though. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Textbook dive up the inside. Pretty much just kissing Ocon's diffuser without making contact and getting that move done cleanly. So 1 place back, we're now P7. Let's get Ocon. Got a bit of action here into Ascari, Albon and Hamilton duking it out. Hamilton needs a win today, you know, minimum, to try and get himself back in the championship fight. Looks like he's struggling on mediums though, and look at this, everyone's passing him right now. Into Parabolica we go, bit of smoke being kicked up as I'm going to guess Hamilton locks up. We may have a chance here to get a couple of cars. I've got a nice bit of DRS to use, so we're going to go ahead and use it, and we've now got DRS as well for good measure. 360 Ks. Albon doesn't have DRS. Ocon moves in the brake zone, but doesn't quite cover the outside, so I'm going to go the long way round. And there we go, up to P5. We managed to get Hamilton and Ocon, so that's big for the championship. We're already ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Bottas leads right now, and I'm assuming Gasly's P2. Oh, we got a yellow. Don't know if someone's retired or there's been a crash or something. Could that trigger a safety car? Which I am partly expecting. That could trigger some early stops with the hard tyre, which I am going to select just in case. It's Verstappen in the Ferrari and safety car deployed. Right, we're going to box this lap then.
We'll receive you at the end of this lap.
We're going to go into the hard tyre and just go to the end. Pretty simple, really. It's going to be close. You know, in terms of tyre wear to make it, I will be honest, we should really go a few more laps. What is my tyre wear right now? I'm not sure what to do, you know. I think I'm going to stay out. I think it's a bit too far to go. Actually, no, I'm going to pit. I'm just going to play it safe. I'm going to pit. What am I thinking? Let's just pit and play it safe. Right. A little bit too cautious into the pit lane. Russell will stay out, which is good to see, so we're not going to stack. I mean, either way, I don't think it's going to lose a lot of time if you go long. I think it's going to be a long way to go on the hard tyre. So, you know, we might be struggling at the end. So we'll see what happens. I've done races before, and I've managed to pit on the first lap and get to the end, but it's been very, very close going into that 80 plus. So we'll see how that goes. But Ocon behind us still, and Albon is also behind us as well. So we managed to actually jump Albon in the pit lane. I'm guessing Albon had to stack behind Gasly, so that's going to be net P4 for us. We're still P7, so not that many cars have actually stayed out, so that's good. Well, let's get through this safety car phase. I'm going to try and burn a bit of fuel, as we're a bit over right now. I want to try and get to that 0.2 range. Safety car in this lap, so we're going to get ready for the restart here. Get a bit of temperature in the tyres. It's going to be tricky. Everyone ahead of us is on softs or mediums, so they'll probably still have the edge on pace, and we've got cars on softs behind as well, so it's going to be tough, but we're going to the end of the race, which is the key difference here. So, you know, we might have to let some of these guys behind go past, but we'll see what happens. Waiting for the restart here any minute now, and away we go. Gasly has a slight correction. We're going to try and box him in and use Magnussen as our way to kind of survive in the top 5 here. Up the inside of Magnussen, we have to avoid running into Mac of George. Going to leave some room on the inside, but we get the move done, and that's crucial. I want to use Magnussen as my rear gunner, as my shield from the faster guys behind. So let's see if we can try and stick with the top 4. Russell up ahead. Gasly behind is a lot faster than me on those soft tyres. I think they're fresh. I really don't know who pit or who didn't. I really didn't pay attention that much. I feel like we'll find out shortly as the race opens up a little bit, but for sure Gasly's faster, so I'm not really going to defend too much. It's a bit of a pointless exercise, really. I'm just going to lose time, and I'm not going into the pits anymore. So for me, it's all about thinking, you know, in the long game here. So let's try and follow him. Albon fastest lap behind us in the other Red Bull. He's right behind me looking for a move here. He just got Ocon on the pit straight, and now he's trying to line me up. Again, I'm not going to defend it super hard, but we'll see what happens. It looks like both Red Bulls have pitted for fresh soft tyres, which seems to explain their pace right now. Front four still going pretty strong. The Mercedes cars, of course, running a strong pace, as they always would do. And of course, after a safety car period, the AI will run maximum power for 2 laps. So right now, we're at probably the biggest disadvantage right now on track. But again, we're playing the long game. Let's see if Albon gets past it. He probably will, similar to Gasly, to be fair. There he is, right now gearbox. I'm not going to defend it. You can see the difference when the AI run maximum power. They're so much quicker. But let's just try and stick with him for now. Oh, Ocon's actually trying to go for the move here. And there's DRS now, so it's fair game. I'm going to probably edge it, though, on the straight line speed department. Ocon, though, on the brakes, I've got to say that is pretty impressive. I'm just going to let him go. Again, I can't really match soft tyre pace right now. The safety car will help extend some stints, but I believe he has to be on fresh soft slowly. Otherwise, I can't explain that pace difference. Okay, some cars in the pit lane. That is Kvyat in there, along with Bottas. So we're now back up to P6. We'll see if more cars pit this lap. Yellow flag behind, I think. Yep, another yellow. We'll see who that is. Now we'll get confirmation shortly, but right now I'm all over the place. We've dropped out of DRS range from Ocon, which is a bit of a shame. That yellow is still there, I think. Perez, okay, wow. Perez out of virtual safety car. Oh, this is bad news. This is bad news for the cars ahead. We're going to get a cheap pit stop. I mean, it's good for Russell at least. Hopefully he can pit during this virtual safety car, but for everyone else in my race, it's going to be bad news. Let's see if the VSC stays out that long. Who's going to take it? We're about to find out. It's a cheap pit stop. Okay, I think Russell's right next to Hamilton, so he's going to benefit from that. But I don't think he's pitting. No one's pitting. Wow, that's very surprising. No one taking advantage of the virtual safety car. Right, that's good for us. That's good news. Let's wait for this VSC restart then. Let's see when it arrives. It's taking quite a while, this one. Still, okay, there we go. Now the VSC is ending. Oh, let's not speed. Important to not speed. There we go. Good timing on that. We've managed to get ourselves back within a second of Ocon, so we've managed to benefit from that VSC quite a lot. George in the pit lane.
George is in the pits. George in the pits.
So he's in for his first stop. Again, makes no sense. Why didn't George just pit under the virtual safety car last lap? The AI on this game sometimes just, I don't understand what they're doing, but anyway. Hopefully George will take a fresh set of mediums, and that could give him a bit of an edge in this final part of the race. In the meantime, though, I'm just trying to get back within a second of Ocon, who's just pulled away a little bit. And there we go. Looks like we've got Gasly in the pit lane for Red Bull. Hamilton's still out there. Albon's still out there. But it looks like, yeah, everyone has to pit. So we are the net race leader. That was a personal best on that lap as we got ourselves back within DRS range of Esteban Ocon. So the pace is starting to go my way now. The soft tyres are losing their edge. Let's see how this race shakes out. I'm very, very curious to see what happens here, but I do believe we're going to be net race leader by quite some way, so the strategy has worked out quite nicely for us. There's a warning for track limits. Got to try and be careful with those. Only 2 more, and we'll get a penalty. Looks like Russell's actually managed to overcut Bottas, which is pretty insane. That's very impressive from George, having a very strong race. I think he'll be running in a pretty high position once everyone does their final stops. But looks like Hamilton's still staying out. Albon pits though, as we set another personal best. Oh, Hamilton pits, and Ocon is going to join him. So there we go. We're going to take back the race lead with a personal best, and that means Russell running in the top 5. A very decent race for us in the constructors. We need these points, and right now we're going to be defending. So we're going to have all the fast boys. Hamilton on fresh softs, I'm going to guess. And then, of course, Bottas, Russell, and Ocon all on fresh mediums, trying to hunt me down. So let's see how this all shakes out. It's going to be Bottas P2, Russell P3, and Hamilton P4. I think Lewis is going to be the one to watch out for. On fresh softs, he could be pretty fast. There's still 10 laps to go, so a 17-second gap is more than possible to be, cut down. Okay, Russell 18.1, fastest lap. That's pretty decent. I think Hamilton, of course, will take it. I don't really have fuel, as Hamilton does actually pass Russell. Although Russell fires back, so they're battling right now. Hopefully it lasts long enough. Otherwise, if Hamilton gets clean through quickly, it's going to be a problem for us. In the meantime, I'm trying to save fuel. I'm using a little bit more than I actually anticipated, so I'm trying to coast a little bit to get some fuel back on target. Hamilton up to P2 now. Looks like he's made the move. Now the question is, can he pull away? Does he have the pace to drop his teammate? I've managed to save a bit of fuel, which is good for us, so I'm not so on the limit right now, so I'm going to try and hold that a little bit if I can. 8 laps to go, including this one. Lewis is running an insane pace right now, 17.8. That's pretty insane. I can't really match that right now. He's dropped Bottas and Russell. Those two are still battling for the final spot on the podium. It would be nice if Russell could get Bottas. Hamilton would definitely get the extra point unless something happens after the race. But for now, I'm just trying to manage things a little bit. Tyres are starting to go slightly. Uh-oh. That's a bit of a silly one to get, I'm not going to lie. Totally unnecessary, that. Just pushed a little bit on that lap to see if I can get a personal best and just keep Hamilton at bay a little bit. That's more like it, 18.6. Only a second off Hamilton's pace now. That's more on the money, but I don't really have anything else now. I've used quite a bit of ERS and fuel for that lap, but that just means it just delays Hamilton's progress by 1 lap. Being on 2 warnings is tricky. If I get a penalty, it might just give Hamilton a chance, but for now the gap is around 10 seconds. Hamilton's not as fast as he was at the start of the stint, so I think we're okay at the minute. I've just got to try to avoid this penalty if possible. Hamilton's still pushing. Last lap of the race now. I need to make sure I avoid getting this penalty. That way I've got 2 seconds in my pocket anyways, just to make sure I, you know, even if I do get one, I can't lose more than 2 seconds this lap, so we should be okay. Just no mistakes. Here we go. Russell has just overtaken Bottas for P3, and we're going to come through, and after a bit of a rocky ride, you know, the last 4 or 5 races, Bottas managing to draw level on points in the championship, we respond here today with a P6 to P1 victory in Monza. Get in.
Here we are then, a thoroughly deserved win in Italy after another excellent Grand Prix. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
Well, they played the safety car to absolute perfection. There are so many factors to worry about once the race is neutralised. I mean, do you pit for fresh rubber? Do you have the space behind you? How much fuel can you save? If you answer all of those questions correctly, you'll have a good chance. And that's exactly what happened today.
It looks like it's time once again to hand out the silverware as the successful drivers make their way to the podium. It was a gritty performance today by Williams, and they've got the race win to prove it.
Well, there we go. What a great day at the office. We finished P1, Hamilton P2 with the fastest lap, and Russell on the podium. And if you look at our races, it's been a great Sunday for Williams. We go from P6 to P1, Russell from P10 to P3, driver of the day, Bottas P4, ahead of both Red Bulls, and we've got Ocon, Kvyat, Norris and Sainz running at the top 10, and then missing out the points, Ricciardo, Leclerc, De Vries, Stroll, Giovinazzi, Grosjean, Magnussen, Matsushita, Perez and Verstappen. We look at the standings though after that race, and we managed to extend our lead over Bottas to 13 points. Hamilton still behind, 53 adrift. The gap increases slightly, but still potentially an outsider. Russell overtakes Ricciardo for P6 in the championship, and then in the constructors we cut the gap down to 68 points. Still a long way to go, and we need another strong weekend, but still we keep the pressure on the Silver Arrows as we now move into the upgrades. Well, after the race, Bottas doesn't outscore us, we outscore him by a point, but it's not going to be enough as Valtteri officially wins the rivalry on paper. Not that I'm surprised, you know, I knew it was going to happen. We still managed to gain a little bit of acclaim though after that race win, and yeah, we're now going to head into the upgrades. Now we have quite a few things to get through here. We've got another season break on the way, our third one of the season. We've got a double batch of resource points on the 14th and the 21st, and we're currently sat on 1,500 points. So I feel like this could be a great opportunity for us to go for a big upgrade. I'm looking at this one here. It's going to be a massive one for the barge balls and ultimate drag reduction upgrade, but we need another 1,000 points, which means probably skipping ahead all the way to the 21st. So we're going to do that right now and try and get that big upgrade onto the car. Well, unfortunately, we don't have enough, even with the weekly resource points. We're going to miss out by 39 points. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to hold off and just, you know, go to the next race. I want to get that upgrade onto the car. So I'm just going to accept that we can't get on right now and jump into the season break. So guys, we'll pick this up in the next episode. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more content like this, guys. It really helps out my channel if you could do that for me. As always, a big shout out to the members for supporting the content, and finally check out the 2 videos on screen if you have missed them. But that is it from me here today, and I'll see you guys next time.